Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unraveling. I'm Jamie,
And I'm July.
and what are we going to be talking about today, July?
Today, we're going to try to talk about something a lot of us struggle with, celebrating ourselves without fear or shame. We're going to be flipping the script. We're going to talk about why self celebration is important and why it can feel uncomfortable and how to push past the fear.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Are we going to celebrate ourselves throughout this
We are.
episode?
Well,
Sweet.
we're going to try to.
Okay, cool.
As always, we're going to try to
sounds good.
try to talk about this, try to celebrate ourselves. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, before we dive into that, I'm going to celebrate us by playing a game.
Okay.
Since we like
As
to
we do.
play a game.
It helps us warm up. It helps us
It does. Get,
get
warm up, loosen up.
get
I don't know. Get
silly.
some laughs in.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody likes it though. I guess let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you like it. Because if you don't like it, we're gonna still do it, but at least we'll know. Because we like it, so we have a lot of fun.
Okay.
But you could also send in ideas for like
Little
games or questions or silly questions, or like join in the silly games.
This
please.
isn't an interactive podcast.
This is an interactive podcast. So we're gonna play a little round of what would you rather.
Here we
this
go
is just
again
so much
with
fun
this.
for me.
I wish there was like we had a little sound machine. I would be like,
Yeah. Well, you can just make the sound effects. That's so much better. Okay. So we're gonna do 2 again, like we did last time.
Mm-hmm.
First time we did it. Last time, first time, whatever. You know what I mean.
Okay.
All right.
No, I'm not gonna. We're having this little moment of I'm not gonna transcribe our game. Yeah. Okay. So
good point. Good point. Okay. And on that note, would you rather time travel to meet your ancestors or visit your future self?
time travel to meet my ancestors or visit my future self. Ooh, that's a tricky
That's
one.
a tough one, right?
Oh, they both would have different advantages and I'm thinking my ancestors.
Right, that's what I was thinking
I'm
too.
really thinking that's what I would pick because while it would be very tempting to visit future self and get some advice or to, see
But,
like where you're at, but that could really mess with things too.
well, we all know that.
Yeah.
One little thing and you can mess up the whole future.
Yeah.
We've all seen Back to the Future.
Yeah, so I think I would go and I would like to go and have some conversations with some ancestors.
Agreed. That's what I would pick too, because I'm like, that's gonna benefit my future self my future self way more than this maniac going to see my future self, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I do communicate with my ancestors,
Yeah.
but like to
Same,
actually
but it would be
go
so
and
cool to just
like really like time travel
yeah,
to go and
sit
like
with them.
and be in their world and that would be pretty awesome.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Wow, okay. Well, that one was good.
Yay, I won you over with the what would you rather.
Do you have another?
I do.
Okay.
This one's more silly.
Here we go.
Okay. We answered that one super fast. I'm so proud of us. Celebrated self. Would you rather have glitter follow you everywhere or confetti rain down every time you laugh?
Something's telling me glitter.
Wow, we were so on the same page this round. I would also pick glitter because I'm also like, I laugh a lot and I'd be constantly cleaning up confetti.
Yeah.
My house would be full of confetti. Like, I'd just be like, motherfucker!
Well, can you imagine just us recording one
Right?
podcast?
My house would be a disaster.
Would just be filled with confetti.
The house would be half full, depending on how much rains down. Well, also, like, how much confetti?
Oh
Is it a light sprinkle? Is it just like one little bucket? Or is it like a big dump load?
Well, it'd also be kind of cool with the glitter because, like, then you
just
look
look
like a little
amazing.
fairy just
Right?
just flitting around and like
Right?
there's just like fairy dust just flying off. But
Yeah.
now all that being said, I really don't want either of those things to happen because
Okay,
that's littering.
that's not the point of the game.
I
Oh
know.
my
I
god.
know. I've got to
Oh my
always go
god.
to the
Yeah.
like my
Mhm.
save the earth
Yeah.
mentality.
It's well,
So lame,
it's
right? No.
yeah, gosh. You people want to save the earth, the place we live.
Mm,
Um, that's a joke,
total
guys.
joke.
Total joke.
Yeah.
We can we okay, once again, these games, we have the rules to these games, so the glitter that follows us around is compostable.
Oh,
It's
well
totally fine.
then sign me
Yeah,
up.
and it's like it's plant-based. It grows naturally in the world. Like, this is a silly game,
It
so
like
then we can make a yeah, it
evaporates.
just evaporates. It
Yeah.
grows
It
naturally.
really truly is
It's like
fairy dust.
yeah, exactly.
I'm totally
It's
cool with that.
created
Now
naturally.
I want that.
Right.
I just want that to happen.
Yeah, right? Why can't that be a thing? Anyway, alright. Well, and I
Yeah.
mean, glitter is also great for celebrating, so on that
Yeah.
note, let's dive into our celebration topic.
Okay. So, the first question we have to get us going is why do so many women hold back? Oh, got to hit the transcribe button. Yeah,
I love that you guys are
sorry.
with us on this
Sorry.
journey of, like,
Yeah,
our behind the scenes.
we're trying to transcribe our episodes, so bear with
Yeah.
us. Okay. So, why do so many women hold back from celebrating themselves? And why is it that so many women feel like owning their accomplishments or even acknowledging their strengths is somehow bragging? I mean, we can really dive
I
in.
blame the patriarchy.
Ooh, is that we should have a little anthem for I blame the
Yeah.
patriarchy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then shoot some sparkle out of a glitter gun. No.
um, so cultural conditioning,
Mhm.
the i.e. the
Yeah.
patriarchy.
Yeah.
Um, the idea that self-praise is bragging. That's like our
Mhm.
first note
Mhm.
under this. Yeah, there's a lot of cultural
Hashtag stay
conditioning.
humble.
Yeah, stay humble. Stay humble.
Yeah.
And what does humble mean?
Mhm.
Like I've gotten into this in
Yes.
circles
Yeah.
before because I have a real beef with the whole humble thing
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
think we have you know, a bit of a we've pushed this a lot. And
Mhm.
and then of course religion comes in.
Oh, man, I was just going there in my mind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, you say some stuff that religion like come on, religion really
I
is
can't
like, "No,
because
don't do
I'm a
this."
woman and I was raised in religion, so
You don't
can't
have a
say a whole lot.
voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, being super sassy right now.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I mean, that was the first thing that kind of popped in my mind was like, okay, then there's religion where women are basically that saying of like children are meant to be seen, not heard
mhm.
applies to women within religion for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
You're meant to be silent and
Submissive.
covered. There's
Submissive.
the whole thing with like having to wear like cover your bodies in
Obedient.
different ways.
An
Yeah,
obedient
submissive,
wife.
obedient.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a voice.
Yeah. And you can't be vain.
You can't be vain. Oh my god, I remember growing up, like, there was the whole thing of, like,
Mhm.
don't be vain.
Mhm.
We didn't really look in the mirror a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't be prideful.
yeah, it was
Don't be
like, don't
boastful.
stand in front of a mirror and, like, check yourself out,
Yeah.
feel good about yourself.
Yeah. So it really, the idea that self-praise is bragging,
Mm.
like even to just say one thing like, "Ah, I look really good in this outfit."
Mhm, mhm.
If you say that in front of most people, generally speaking, they're gonna kinda
You take it back.
be taken yeah, and you're gonna feel shame in saying it
Mhm,
because that's how we've been conditioned.
mhm,
Like, I'm really not supposed to admire myself
mhm,
openly in front of other people. I'm not, but then at the same time, we're sitting there, spoon feeding everybody self-love, self-confidence,
empowerment,
empowerment,
yeah,
and yet
but don't say it out
but
loud.
don't say it out loud. Yeah.
Don't celebrate
Yeah,
it
don't
and don't feel good about yourself. Don't
because
tell other people because that can
that
make
would
them
be
feel
bragging,
insecure.
and then we would say about another woman, "Oh my god, who does she think she is?"
Mhm,
I
mhm,
mean, have you
mhm,
not heard multiple women in your life when another woman is really owning
mhm,
herself and her
mhm.
power, and then
She's so full of herself.
she's so
That's what
full
I
of
have heard, yeah.
herself, and yeah, who does she think she
Mhm,
is? And
mhm,
oh my gosh, she's so arrogant, she's so
mhm,
self-absorbed.
mhm.
So that stuff gets thrown out there. And I
Yep.
mean, I think there is a balance in
Well,
it.
once again, there's a spectrum as there is for
Yeah,
everything,
for
right?
sure. But like, to shame someone for appreciating parts of themselves
Mhm.
openly or
Mhm.
fully embodying their essence, like,
Mhm.
and to just be like, oh, who does she think she is? Like,
Mhm.
that is not okay.
Mhm.
It's not okay. And it's anti
Mhm.
celebratory. Instead, we should look to those people that actually aren't afraid to, to celebrate themselves and kind of inquire and reflect.
Mhm.
You know, like, is there such thing as being over the top with it?
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Sure there is. But
Well, yeah, like, you
how
should be able to have
freeing
other conversations besides just talking about
about yourself.
yourself, like,
Yes, for
yeah, like,
sure.
I think that's the
For
extreme of,
sure.
like, all that person does is talk
Mhm.
about themselves
Mhm.
and, like, can't have a conversation with anyone else or, like,
Absolutely. But
yeah.
I think we also should offer people the grace that from time to time, if they have absolute reason to carry on about
Mhm.
themselves. Like, oh my gosh, I'm just having a killer week.
Mhm.
I've had these are all my
Well,
wins.
yeah.
I'm feeling great. Look at my cool
Well,
outfit or
it
whatever it
doesn't
is. That's okay if
yeah,
you have a day or,
yeah.
like, and it's just all about me, me, me,
Well,
me.
once again, it doesn't really matter if someone like, to what degree someone is talking about themselves or not talking about themselves. There's no one has the right to judge
Mm-mm.
any of it.
Nope.
That's the end of the
Nope.
episode. Thank you for listening. No. Celebrate yourself. No.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And now in the notes, the double standards for
Mhm.
confidence in
Mm.
men versus
Mhm.
women. Now, men are actually supposed to celebrate themselves in our society. Being a man,
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
quotes, is being confident
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
owning your
Mhm.
successes and,
Yeah.
really putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
I've seen a
mean,
lot of, I can't think of the exact, like, words or anything that she uses, but I've seen a lot of, Taylor Swift videos where, like, she's talking about the double standards in her industry, but
mhm,
it applies
mhm.
for, like, different words that are used to describe how men are in business versus
Mhm.
women.
Yes.
It's like I said, I can't think of any of the words right now that she used, but it was
Mhm.
so on point, and I've seen multiple ones,
Oh, absolutely.
of these, uh, you
Oh,
know
yeah. No, and when you start breaking it down,
Mhm.
it's impossible not to notice,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that does happen. And like, I do think that we're in this place in our society right now, in our growth and our evolution, that a lot of men aren't in that typical cultural male embodiment that's come from the patriarchy, and
Mhm.
are a little bit lost. And that's very sad too, because
Mhm.
it's like they've been pushed down with the
Mhm.
women now too. It's like we're really struggling
Mhm.
there, and we have a lot of men dealing with self-image issues
Mhm.
and depression and and not fully owning their power.
Mhm.
um but historically,
Mhm. Oh,
men
yes.
men have been allowed
Yes.
without shame.
Well, yeah, they've been allowed to do that side of things and not been allowed to do other things,
Absolutely,
basically, just as women
absolutely.
have.
Well, like, to be
Yeah, they're
sensitive
not allowed to be
and to
emotional
cry
or
and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So we need to find
yeah.
balance here, that everybody's allowed to be sensitive and to cry and to be compassionate and to
Mhm.
be nurturing, and
And
everybody is
also to
also allowed to
yeah,
be badass
yeah.
and love themselves
Mhm.
fully and
Mhm.
completely without apology,
Be
and
excited about their
to
wins
to
and
be excited
successes
about
and
yes, and
yeah,
to be proud of the way they look.
yeah,
And yeah, like,
100%.
yeah, we need to find the balance in it, and I think that's what we're all searching for,
Mhm.
really.
Mhm.
um but it is unfortunate, the double standards that have been set forth for men versus women in this culture. And it's time for women to rise
Mhm.
and to get rid of these patriarchal, programmings
Yeah.
that we have, that have been through generations, because we have literally heard our grandmothers, our mothers, make statements as women, like, "Oh, don't be vain.
Mhm.
when they catch you looking in the mirror,
Mhm.
or, oh, you have to, oh, girls should be, sort of demure and like,
Mhm.
soft spoken and
Mhm.
polite. Like it's kind of just this image that's been put forward and pressured onto us for generations. And in that, it has made women, it has silenced us. Like we've
Mhm.
been completely silenced, and fear has been over all of that.
Mhm.
So to step into celebrating yourself,
Yeah.
that's a big step in the divine feminine
Mhm.
rising. Huge, huge,
Yeah.
and essential for
Mhm.
our evolution in at this time.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, like I know as a kid, I definitely felt a lot of shame to be boastful. Did you? And you did, right? Like with in the
I don't even
church and
think the thought of being boastful crossed my mind, or
yeah.
like I can't even think of a time when like that occurred to me to even do, to
Hmm.
like celebrate myself in any kind of way. I think like I'm thinking like, yeah, as a little kid, I think there was probably some moments where I was like, "Oh, like check out this cool thing I did," or like, like felt
Hmm.
really good
Oh,
about something,
sure.
and
Yeah.
I think it was shot down at such an early age that I think I shut it down at such an early age that I don't really have a whole lot of like memories of moments I could think of where like I felt shame for wanting to, because I don't think I did.
Well, there's so many things that have been pushed on us to suppress
Mhm.
us ever really coming into fully embodying who we are with pride,
Mhm.
men and women.
Oh, 100%.
Um,
Because if you can't embody everything about yourself, of course you're
mhm,
not.
absolutely, and and the more, and then so you're silenced,
Mhm.
silence, silence, and
Mhm.
don't do that, and don't
Mhm.
brag, and don't be boastful, and don't um like, "Oh, look at you looking in the mirror,
Mhm.
admiring yourself," just little comments, little statements,
Mhm.
and then even if it's not directed directly towards you, it's how we talk about other people, the
Mhm.
nastiness of, and she's always looking in the mirror at herself. She takes 3 hours to get
Yeah.
ready and
One thing that keeps
right?
popping into my head that I remember hearing a lot as a kid is like, "Look what she's wearing. What kind of attention she looking for?"
Yeah, absolutely. And then here in turn, I mean, pretty much almost every woman I've met in my life has serious self-confidence issues
Mhm.
and beats themselves up.
Mhm.
Like, you know, w- they hate themselves.
Mhm.
Like this comes out a lot that a lot
Mhm.
of women really dislike themselves. Men too,
Yeah.
but they don't like themselves. They do a lot of like, negative self-talk, like, "Ugh, I'm so
Well,
ugly, I'm so fat,
oh my
ugh,
goodness.
I'm such a loser.
But,
I'll
like, do you
never
ever
get the girl,
try
I'll never get the guy."
to, like, give another woman a compliment? Like,
Oh,
that's a whole
yes.
thing too that I've
Oh,
noticed, like, you give
yes.
a woman a compliment and they undermine it immediately.
A lot of women do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm guilty of it
Oh gosh, me
sometimes.
too.
Mostly I notice I don't say anything.
Mm.
Like, I don't say thank you.
Mhm.
I'm just like, "Okay." Like, "Okay."
Mhm.
And I don't know, yeah, I definitely don't struggle with the self-confidence in, like, appearance and stuff
Mhm.
as much as most women seem to.
Mhm.
Um, but even still, because of the societal conditioning, it is difficult to take the compliment fully.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, like, I know, like, I mean, for myself even, it's like I used to do the whole thing of, like, like, undermining the compliment,
Mhm.
and I think even now, like, I think I will say thank you, but, like, I feel really awkward, like, it's kinda just this, like, "Oh, haha, like, thank you." There's always that, "Haha," like, little weird giggle,
Mhm.
'cause I'm just like, "Now what do I do with my hands?" Like, you
Right.
know?
Well, and it's interesting too because it depends on the compliment.
True,
Like if
yeah.
someone says to you, "Oh my gosh, I love your ring."
Mhm,
That one just
mhm.
comes to me because I get that one
Yeah.
all the time with my Labrador
Yes. Oh,
Labradorite
I should
ring.
yeah,
It's constant.
yeah.
"Oh my gosh, your ring, it's amazing. I love your ring."
Mhm.
And and I'm just like, "Oh, thank you. I love it too.
I was just gonna
Thanks."
say, I think if it's something you already accept about yourself, it's easier to take the
Well,
compliment.
that's also an object out even though it's mine and it's very
Mhm.
personal to me, it's also outside of
Well,
myself.
I'm
It's
just
it's
thinking,
its
like,
own
if someone
thing.
tells me, for example, that, like, "Oh my god, you're so funny." I'm like, "I know."
Yeah,
Like,
you're
that's
you're
not
good at
a
receiving
compliment
that one.
that I struggle to take because I'm
No.
like, "I know, and I don't care if you think I'm funny because I do. I'm hilarious."
You're really good about that
Yeah.
accepting that one for sure. But
Or,
yeah.
like, if I have nice hair. See, it's like the things that you accept about
Yeah.
yourself because 'cause I'm like, "I know, I
Mhm,
love my hair."
mhm. But if
Like,
someone says like, "Oh my god, you're such a goddess."
yeah.
Now,
I'd be like,
you know that I get that one a
"Yeah."
lot.
But if someone said that to me, I'm like, "Okay,
And I'm just like,
thank you."
um well, I don't say anything. I'm just like, "Mm." I smile and kinda shrug,
Yet
I
we
think
are all
is that what I
goddesses.
do? Because
I
it
don't know.
seems like that's what I
I don't
do.
remember.
Yeah, but it's funny because we
Yeah.
don't fully receive the compliments a lot of the
Mm,
time,
mhm,
and we do brush them off,
mhm.
and to straight up come in and say, like, "I feel like a
Yeah.
goddess." Right? Like, to walk in and be like, "I feel like a goddess today." Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Or even if that's how we accepted the compliment too, like, I mean, like, "You look like a goddess." "Thanks, I fucking feel like one."
that's
That's
how we
really what we should
should.
start doing.
Yeah.
Even if we don't, like, even if our initial reaction is like, "Oh god, this I'm on it."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and there's just it's really sad in working with women hearing the things that they do say to themselves, like the
Mm.
terrible, terrible things that they say to themselves, the way they speak about themselves, and watching the complete resistance to accepting compliment. Um, it's so sad
Mhm.
and brushing off their accomplishments just completely like if you say, "Oh my gosh, like you're such an incredible woman, like the amount of things that you're doing and
Mhm.
juggling and like you're such a good mom," and like they just are like it's like they get silenced by it. They
Yeah,
don't
and
know how to react or they really just brush it off.
I think there's kind of, like, layers to that one too, though. I mean,
Mhm.
there's layers to everything, but, like, 'cause, like, I can take that, like, for example, like, that kind of compliment where it's like, people have complimented me over the last couple of years, like, "Oh, you're such a badass, like, you built a tiny house, like, you just,
Mhm.
like, wow, that you're so brave to, like, do what you did in your life," and, like, and I've brushed those compliments off completely, because like, I didn't feel brave, I didn't feel courageous, like, I
Mhm.
felt broken, I felt all these
Mhm.
other things, and also for me, it was like it wasn't this, like, big, brave thing I did. I was just surviving, man. And so I think there's elements of that too. It's
Well,
like you're in your life surviving and you don't
mhm.
realize that what you're doing like, someone else on the outside can see that and be like, "Oh my god, like, they're killing it. Like, they are so amazing. Look at all the stuff they're doing," and, like, and so
Mhm.
I think there's that
Well,
element too
yeah,
of
when
just, like,
you see
not
the
realizing
yes, yes,
that
and
your example that just
mhm.
you living your life and the choices you're making can be such an inspiration to someone else, and we don't really think of that because I don't
Yeah.
think any of us think of ourselves as, like, an inspiration.
No, and within that, because I've had a lot of that too of people being
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, you're such an incredible
Mhm.
woman and you're such an incredible mom,"
Mhm.
and like there can be completely inadvertently like pressure put on you at that point
Mm.
too. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it's like if you're showing up in a certain way and then people are taking notice of that way, it sometimes feels like they're forming expectations for you
Mm.
to
Mhm.
always be that way.
Mhm.
And that can be challenging. That can be really challenging when somebody puts you on a pedestal.
Yeah,
Like
for
that
sure.
that can be basically, I guess I just touched on that because don't put other people on
Mhm.
pedestals.
Mhm.
Don't knock them off of their pedestal. They've put themselves
Yeah.
on. That's not your place, but don't put them on a pedestal and then
Mm.
hold them to a
Mhm. Mhm.
standard because we're all human and we
Mhm.
are all flawed and we all will
Mhm.
have bad days and we will have missteps and
Well,
down
yeah, like, it's
times.
absolutely
Yes.
wonderful to see and say something you
Mhm.
see in someone that you're like, "Oh my god, that's
Absolutely.
amazing," and, like,
Just don't hold that as the
yeah,
standard of
that's a
expectation
yeah,
for that
exactly.
person. And I
Yeah.
think that that's important to address because you
Yes.
also need to not do that to yourself.
Yes.
So you're going to have wins, celebrate those wins,
Mhm.
but then allow yourself the grace that it's okay to have downtimes
Mhm.
too. We're flawed, we're human,
Mhm.
we're imperfect.
Mhm.
There is no such thing as
Yeah.
perfection in this journey of life. Like we're just all going through and having these experiences. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, celebrating others is awesome. Just don't hold them to a standard from
Yeah.
that point on. And
And remember to
remember
celebrate
that
yourself
with
too, though.
yourself. Like celebrate yourself and don't beat yourself
Mhm.
up to a pulp when you have a downturn.
Mhm.
It's
Because I know that's
okay.
something else I've noticed too is, like, when someone compliments you and, like, quite often in my interactions, if someone compliments me, sometimes, depending on what it is, I'll be like, "Oh, thank you," and then I'll be like,
Mhm.
if it's something that, I also see in them, I will be like, "Oh my god, yeah, like, you too," or, like, "I thought
Mhm.
that this was so cool that you did," and, like,
Mhm.
I'll always try to kind of give back, can't say that word, in some way, not because I feel like I have to, but I'm like, women,
Oh yeah.
praising women,
Yeah.
you give me a compliment, "Oh my god, yeah," like, and I've noticed more often than not, it's like, "Oh, no, no, no." And it's like, "Why is it okay for you to celebrate me, but
Mhm.
me not okay to celebrate you?" Or, like, you can celebrate someone else, but yet you can't see it in yourself.
Oh, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a
Or
serious
accept it in
problem.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something that we definitely need to work on in our
Yeah.
healing journey
Yep.
in this time of rising
Mhm.
and saying no more to the
Mhm.
patriarchy.
Mhm.
We have to celebrate ourselves. And it's not vain, it's not boastful. It's part of owning who you are,
Mhm.
embodying all of you fully and completely. Be proud of yourself. You
Absolutely.
absolutely should be proud of yourself. If you're going to love
I
yourself,
was just gonna say, like, in my head, I was just, like, I'm like, that's a big part of self-love. Like,
yeah.
that's been a part of my journey of self-love is, like, reflecting on, like, what are the most common things people have said about me
Yep.
and say about me, and really sitting, like, I remember I did this, like, a while back where I took this, like, time to really reflect on it and be like, "What are the most common things? What do I hear all the time, and why do I think I hear them? Why am I always brushing them off? Why don't I believe them?"
Hmm.
Multiple people are telling me these things that they see in me.
Yeah.
Do I think they're all lying? Like, you know what I mean? And I just went through this process. So it is a big process of, like, learning to love yourself
It's
too.
a huge process and it really starts with when you're a child
Mhm.
because, with children, we do tend to, especially with girls, we tend to compliment on physical.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's really important, for anybody out there raising daughters, absolutely tell them they're beautiful. Tell them they're beautiful every day, but also tell them they're smart, tell them they're
Mhm.
strong, tell them that they can do anything in the world
Mhm.
that they set their minds to. Don't just focus on the physical
Mhm.
because there's been way too much of that in
Yeah.
our society of girls just being
Yeah.
told they're pretty,
Yeah.
and that's the expectations of a girl to just sit
Yeah.
there and be quiet
Yeah.
and look pretty, and that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, by all means, they should feel
Of
pretty.
course. Of
A
course.
100%. It's just
Yeah.
it's so important. And I know I would do it when raising my daughters. I would, because of course you think your daughters are
Of course.
beautiful, and I, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. And I would
Mhm.
always try, like I formed this habit, to check myself and be
Mhm.
like, and you're so smart, and you're
Mhm.
so strong,
Mhm.
and like you're so talented,
Mhm.
those types of
Yeah.
things. It's really important to tell children this. And for boys, it's really important to not just admire their strength
Mhm.
and their
Mhm.
manliness
Mhm.
and their athleticism
Mhm.
and but and boys are told about being intelligent, I think,
Mhm.
more so than girls are. But also to tell them, oh, I love your compassion.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love how kind you
Yeah.
are. I love how you show up for your friends. You're such
Yep.
a good friend. I mean,
How
these are
thoughtful you
yeah, you're
are.
so
Yeah.
thoughtful. I mean, these are things we should be telling our
Yeah.
kids. And so it really starts at that base
Yeah.
level. And I think more these days we do realize that in our parenting. I think more
Mhm.
and more parents are tuned into that. But which thankfully, because I will start to break this pattern.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, society, like it's been in a lot of, television shows and
Mhm.
movies. We've seen this negative side of, the just the not celebrating yourself and
Mhm.
not celebrating others for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Um, like we don't celebrate movie stars typically because they're kind
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
giving and
Mhm.
compassionate or smart. What makes, I mean, think about it. In our society, we who do we put on
Mhm.
pedestals primarily? We
Mhm.
put celebrities on
Mhm.
pedestals. And why do we put them on the pedestal? It's usually their appearance. Like
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
comes in right at the
Yeah.
top because if they're not looking good,
Mhm.
what do?
Oh
We tear
gosh.
them
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
We shred them, you
Yeah.
know? And so it's like it's got to stop.
Yeah.
We have to start even looking at those that we do put on those pedestals, these
Mhm.
celebrities, and say, well, are they kind?
Mhm.
Do they give? What do they do for charity?
Mhm.
Ooh, oh,
Yeah.
I like that person. That person does something really
Mhm.
good. This is amazing. I like what they stand for. Because while celebrating your looks is essential, it also isn't the only
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
right? And I think if we had more of that,
Mhm.
we would find more balance within,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So,
No, absolutely.
yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. And as humans, again, it is in our nature to look for the pretty, the attractive, like
Mhm.
that's
Well, it's
we're
what we
animals.
yeah.
And we
Yeah.
so often forget.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we're so disconnected from our nature as nature that we forget we
Mhm.
are animals. We're
Mhm.
just like those birds that, look all fancy and do the
Mhm.
little dances for
They
each
look for the,
other
like,
and they're
strongest
looking,
one that's gonna survive,
yeah, or the prettiest
not gonna
one.
die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? And we're the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um so you can't get rid of what is your natural
Mhm.
animalistic nature
Mhm.
fully.
Mhm.
It's just learning, like, to love and admire in a broader spectrum,
Mhm.
I think,
Mhm.
because society has really glomped onto this. It's all about
Mhm.
looks and
Mhm.
it's all about money and success.
Yeah.
And if you're not, achieving what your neighbor achieved, like,
Mhm.
then you're less than,
Yeah.
right? And not giving yourself the grace that you're not your neighbor. You're
Yeah.
not you're not that woman on TV
Mhm.
that's beautiful and
Mhm.
too thin
Mhm.
and all those things. You're you
Mhm.
with your experiences, your circumstances, and you're great just as you
Yeah.
are. You're perfect as you are,
Mhm.
right? So even though perfect doesn't exist,
Yeah.
but still, it's
Yeah.
individually we are perfect as we are.
Yeah.
Um, so perfectly imperfect,
Mhm.
as we say.
Yeah.
Um, what does it feel like when you take a moment to celebrate yourself? Why is it so hard to do? Um, I would, yeah. So the notes: internalized guilt or fear of being seen as too much. That is definitely at play, I would say, because we hear it so much, like in reference to people. They're too much.
Mhm.
It's going back to that. Who does she think she
Mhm.
is? Who does he think she is? Oh my gosh! Like all they do is
Mhm.
they're so self absorbed. Like, yeah. I think So when you hear those things and all that buzz around you, judgment of other people who have been celebrating themselves, of course, it's going to make you try to dim your own light
Mm.
because you don't want to
Mhm.
be seen and talked about in this negative way.
Yeah.
So it's a problem.
Mhm.
The power of pushing past the discomfort. Um, there's a lot of power in it, in embodying your strengths, um, your intelligence, your accomplishments. Um, but it's not even just about that. It's about embodying, like celebrating your kindness, who
Mhm.
you are as a human being. Do you show up for your friends?
Mhm.
Saying, I'm a good friend. Like, how often do you hear people actually claim that?
Mhm.
I am a good
Yeah.
friend. I know I am,
We do.
right? We do. Yes, I know we do. But like, um, I am a good wife.
Yeah.
I am a good husband.
Mhm.
I'm a good daughter. Those are things that we should familiarize
Mhm.
ourselves with saying more often. And if you're feeling like truly like I'm not,
Mhm.
I am not a good friend.
Mhm.
Why? Why are you not a good friend?
Yeah.
How can you improve yourself? I mean, these are
Yeah.
all um, great opportunities for reflection and self growth too. If
Mhm.
you really genuinely
Mhm.
feel that you are less than in something,
Mhm. Why?
why
Yeah.
have dialogue with
Yeah.
self about it? But
Because it a fact that you are, or that you're, like, internalizing other beliefs that you have about yourself of
absolutely,
unworthiness and expectations and
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So, and then we have the note here of like, um, well, I guess pushing past the discomfort. We should still stay on that one.
Mm.
The power of pushing past the discomfort is you start to grow more and more in your confidence. You start to raise your voice more and more.
And I think you start to, like, that's a journey of, like, self-acceptance too, right? It's,
Absolutely.
like, kind of
And
pushing
self
past that.
love.
Yeah, like, pushing past the discomfort and being like, "No, this is who I am,
Hmm.
and I'm awesome."
Yeah.
Like, and I'm take it or leave it.
Well,
Like, getting past the point of caring in a
you
really good
can't
way
have
of, like
self love without self celebration.
yeah.
That's just not, if you have trouble with this concept of anything about loving yourself, just try to hone in on what you know about what would be the right, proper way for a parent to love a child. What's the
Yeah.
most ideal way that a parent loves a child? Even if you've experienced in your life, parents that didn't love you
Well, how would
enough
you have
or love
wanted to
you in
be
the
loved?
right way. How do you want to be loved? How did you want,
Mhm.
what was the dream parent
Yeah,
that you had? And I mean, most parents make some mistakes.
of
So
course.
just create in your mind like whatever the dream parent is, and and maybe you had one,
Mhm.
because it's not a rule that if you had an amazing and awesome parent that you're going to be a self-confident person. That's
No.
just not the way it goes, unfortunately, because society has such a big effect
Oh, for
on the
sure.
shaping of us as well. But how so now you parent yourself,
Yeah.
right? You go into the like, how would I want somebody to show up for me? Oh, that's how I'm going to show up for myself.
Mhm.
Would a good friend celebrate me? Yes.
Mhm.
That's how I'm going to do it for myself too. You know, if I put on this outfit and I look good in it, would my friend tell me I
Mhm.
look good? I need to do that
Mhm.
for me, cuz like if my friend puts on an outfit and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that shirt looks so great on
Mhm.
you." But we struggle, so many of
Mhm.
us, to do that for ourselves,
Yeah.
right? Um So, yeah, how self celebration helps counter imposter syndrome. I mean, come on, that's in our notes, but like,
Yeah.
that's a given. If you have imposter syndrome and you start celebrating yourself,
Mhm.
it's going to start to take the imposter syndrome away,
Mhm.
like dulling it more and more
Mhm.
and more.
Right? Like, who do I think I am to be a podcast host? And then switching
Yeah,
that narrative and being like, "Oh my god, I'm a podcast host. This is badass.
I'm
I'm
fucking
awesome. This is
awesome
great."
and I have important things to say. And
And
instead
s
of being like, who would want to listen to
Right.
me?
Yeah.
Who would want to tune in?
Or like, "Oh, it's just a little
It's just a
podcast," or
little
whatever.
yeah.
"It's just
And
this thing I
instead
do."
being like, yeah, we are celebrating this
Mhm.
podcast. We actually are really enjoying hanging out as friends and having conversations that we have anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I'll
Now
just
we're
say
just
that.
making you
I'll
listen.
just say that, guys.
Well,
Like,
we're not making you, it's your
I think
choice.
we've mentioned it before, but Jamie and I get together quite a bit and we just have these conversations anyways.
Mhm.
That's part of why we're like, you know what?
It's also literally how we come up with our podcast topics, because
Yeah,
we will get into conversations about
that's a
whatever,
topic.
and then we're like, "That's a topic." Like, now yeah, we're getting a little off
Yeah,
topic here, but
but we're
yeah.
celebrating our ideas and
Yes.
celebrating ourselves in those
Yeah.
moments, right?
Yeah.
And this has been a journey. It's a journey. So learning to celebrate yourself is it takes time.
Mhm.
And it's forming new habit, new brain patterns of
Mhm.
like the way you're thinking.
I feel like learning to celebrate yourself is a big, very much connected, for me personally anyway, and, to really starting to have dialogue with your inner child again. Really. Like,
Absolutely.
that's because, like, when I think about my own journey with, like, learning to celebrate myself, it always comes back to, like, my inner child, to,
Mhm.
like, allow, because, like, I'm a very easily excited person. I get excited over really stupid things.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say stupid things, silly things that most
Mhm.
people would think were silly. Like, and I think I and maybe for me it's been massively connected to the inner child, because that's a lot of the stuff I shut down, was like the playfulness, the getting super excited about things for no
Because
reason.
kids do.
Yeah, and like,
Before we've dimmed their
being
light.
super silly,
Yeah.
singing as loud and terribly as I can,
Mhm.
dancing, like all of these things were kind of like the things that I really shut down. And so like in this journey of like learning to celebrate my
Huh.
own self again, it's kind of like this, for me, it's this journey of like celebrating my inner child. I mean, like, yeah, I'm dorky, I'm silly, and I don't care if you like it or not. I don't care if you think,
Mhm.
it's like this whole thing
Because
of like,
when
I'm
children
great.
are in healthy
Yeah.
environments, I mean, and this is part of the inner child work is
Mhm.
reflecting and acquainting yourself with when children are in healthy environments when they're really little, before society has gotten a hold of them, before they've been exposed to other friends who put them down and bully them and all those types of things. They are always so excited to say, like,
Mm.
my grandchildren are really they're
Mhm.
healthy children, right?
Mhm.
And they're, "Grandmother, come look at what I built. Look at my shirt.
Mhm.
Don't I look
Mhm.
cool?"
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
don't
Check out my new
hesitate. "Check
shoes.
out my new shoes. They can run really
Yeah,
fast."
yeah,
And, "Look,
yeah.
watch me ride my bike." But we
Mhm.
don't
Yep.
do that as
Yeah.
grown-ups. And I mean, we don't say like, "Look at what I did. I created this really
Mhm.
cool thing. Look at this piece of art I
Mhm.
did. Look at we're
Look how
not."
fast I can drive my car.
Well, that might get you a ticket.
I know there's downsides to certain things as an adult.
But to say like, look at my new shirt. I
Yeah.
love it. It makes
Yeah.
me feel great."
Mhm.
We I think that many of us would think, well, that's kind of a weird thing to say,
Mhm.
like, or okay,
Really, I
yeah.
wish people would ask me if my shoes made me run fast.
I know you've said this
It's
before
really a thing.
and
They
like
don't, by the way, because I never tie them, but in case anyone was
but
wondering.
yeah, like kids, they naturally, I mean, that's the natural state of being human
Yes.
before the world
Mhm.
dims your light,
100%. You think you're
is
awesome,
self-celebration.
and you should.
And you should, because you are
Yeah.
awesome. And you're awesome still as an
Yeah.
adult. And that's the thing that, we need to embody
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a little interactive segment. I mean, I guess we're not really playing a game. We're just going to take some turns in practicing this. And this is something, we've done this in circles of women in our women's circles before, where we go around and we say like, what's our favorite quality about ourselves? Like, where we try to learn to celebrate ourselves. And
Mhm.
um
I
though
feel
and
like we should be wearing party hats to do this, but
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna
well,
put on an imaginary party hat.
crowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like party hats better. You can have a crown if you want.
Okay. I just still want the
I
sparkles.
know. You're still thinking about that. How did you even get through this episode? Just like, man.
um, we're gonna take
Okay.
some turns
Okay.
asking each other. So here we go.
All right.
What's something you're proud of that you've accomplished recently, Jamie?
Oh gosh. Something I'm proud of that I've accomplished recently. Ooh. Um. That's a
There's so many
this.
things.
I mean, I'm really proud.
Tell a
Um,
few
I'm just
things.
thinking.
There's
I'm
no
just
limit.
thinking here. I'm proud of, I think, like the journey that we've been on with the business, and
Oh,
like
me too.
the systems we're getting in
Oh,
place, and just like the work and where we're at, and it's like it's so far from where we've been before, and it just like feels so good.
I'm
Like I was
so
thinking about it
proud.
last night, and like I got like really excited, and I was just like, "Oh my god, like this feels so different than like any of the other,
Mhm.
you know, roads we've gone down, and it just feels really good." And I had this moment, I think, last night when I was driving to town where I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm doing it. Like this is my purpose, and I'm
Mhm.
finally doing it."
Mhm.
And it just felt really good. I think that's why I had so much energy to like sing all the songs and stuff on the way to town.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
rocking out in the
I was rocking
car
out. I wore myself out with my own energy
to your let's see, you would have been a teen and like young adult
in
in
the like
the
the 2000s.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, you were having a
Great and also terrible music.
little
Yeah.
car
But yeah,
dance party.
do we want to just go back and forth with the questions? So
Yeah.
what's something you're proud of that you
Well,
accomplished recently?
I too am so proud of the 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 things we've been doing with the business and this podcast. I'm so proud of this
Me too.
podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if people like it and like you've said, and I don't actually care. It's like I care,
We
but I,
care,
I
but
but
we
I also
don't.
am just like we're having so
Yeah.
much fun and it feels so
I guess
natural.
it's like I would do it even if people didn't care. If people didn't like it.
Well, I mean, we were already doing it, having the
Yeah.
conversations. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like we're just wanting to share it.
Yeah.
That's why. But we're also like to say like we had a podcast before and we held back a lot and we worried
Mhm.
about what people would
Yeah.
how people would take
Mhm.
things who would be listening. These are normal.
Mhm.
This is imposter
Yeah.
syndrome and we've really
I don't
crossed
yeah.
over
We were very careful with what we said. We didn't
yeah.
curse. We didn't like
And
joke
bottom line
around.
is we really don't fucking care anymore
Yeah. Yeah. In a really great
in an
way.
awesome way. So
Yeah.
it's very freeing.
Mhm.
Um, I'm proud of, you know, there's so many things I'm so proud of my kids that I
Mm.
raised. I'm like they've turned out to be such amazing human beings and I think I had a little bit to do with
I'd say. Yes.
it.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
I'm really proud of all those moments that have come up as they've come into their adulthood and they've like it's been such a beautiful thing to have you there for some of those moments
Hmm.
for sure and I think you know some of the like what I'm talking about just like well we just had solstice and we were all
Mhm.
singing together
Mhm.
like we all
Mhm.
just naturally just started singing a song together
Mhm.
and it's just like those moments they're so beautiful
Mhm.
and it just gives me so much pride that like they all love each other so much and they support each other so much and
Mhm.
it's like that was that was a chapter of my life that raising my kids
Mhm.
that lasted so long 27 years
Mhm.
I raised these children and now I'm in a new chapter and it's I'm very proud to look back and despite the fact that I certainly made a shit ton of
Mhm.
mistakes and had a shit ton of shortcomings and all those things, but they've they've really turned out well and I'm so proud of that. I'm proud of the mother that I
Mm.
was,
Mhm.
despite the the mishaps
Mhm.
along the way.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot to be proud of. I'm
Mhm.
proud of this farm that we're
Mhm.
on and I'm proud of our friendship.
Yeah.
Like I think that's something to be
Mhm.
proud of for sure.
Agreed.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I was thinking of more things as you were saying too. I'm like, I'm proud of where I'm at in my journey.
Mhm.
I'm proud. As difficult as the last few years are, like were, is like looking back now. I'm like, man, I'm so proud of myself for that journey. Like, I'm so proud of where I am. I'm proud of where I am in my, like, just how I feel about myself.
Oh,
I'm also really proud that I've embraced sweatshirts instead of only wearing hoodies.
yeah.
Sorry, I had to get a dumb one in there, but I am. You know how I feel about hoodies, and I am.
Oh,
That's a step for me.
I did not know where that was going at first.
Yeah,
I'm so proud I embrace sweatshirts. I'm
like,
like,
you
yep.
know, sweaters with no hoods.
See, I can understand this particular statement, but of course listeners
Yeah.
probably can't because I've had to hear you go on and on about how I only like hoodies. If it doesn't have a hood, I want nothing to do with
Yeah,
it for
it's
so
true
long.
story.
I just can't get past this
I've been
needing a hood
I've
thing.
been forced to embrace sweatshirts because I've been finding cooler ones at thrift stores than
You have
hoodies.
found some really
Yeah, I
cool
found some
ones.
really nice
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Um, what personal quality or strength do you admire most in yourself?
What a personal quality or strength do you admire most in yourself? Most? I gotta pick the top one? Oh my goodness. Um, I think I secretly admire how much I care, but I feel like I'd never show as much as I would like how much I care,
Mm, yeah.
if that makes
I
sense.
totally understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. I feel
Like,
similar on that.
I also admire I think I also in I admire the fact that I haven't let life make me bitter. I don't know what quality that is, but I admire my strength without turning into a rock, I guess. My
Mhm.
strength and also my softness. Maybe that's the way to put it.
Yeah, no, that I feel that one too, to be honest. Yeah,
Like, I guess I admire that I've been able to be so strong and come through so much without and still being a good person, still being a kind and caring person, not letting life
make
shut
you
me
bitter,
down and
make you
make you bitter and
cold.
make you cold and,
Yeah,
you know?
it's actually surprising for both of us on that one, and
Yeah,
definitely something to be
because
proud
I
of.
think I'm very proud of the fact that, like, I've never used anything in my life as an excuse to treat anyone else poorly.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah. I agree with all those and feel the same pride in very similar things for myself. Um I do admire for myself my compassion for people and the way that I love.
Mm,
Like I think the same as you said, like with the caring, like how but you don't really know that you actually show that as much.
mhm.
I think a lot of the time people don't realize how deeply I love. I
Yeah,
often
but,
get
like, I
misunderstood
feel
in
the
it. Like
same.
if if you're my friend, like
Mhm,
I will fight for you. I will stand by your side. I will show up.
mhm,
I will love you and love even if we have a falling out,
mhm,
I'll be the person that will come and try to talk and work through it.
mhm.
Like that is something I have
Yeah.
done and while sometimes it can be like a downfall for me,
Mhm,
I am proud of it despite that it does sometimes cause me pain. The
mhm,
way that I love it it can
mhm,
be very painful at
mhm,
times. I'm sure you could say the same
mhm.
with the caring,
Yeah,
like
no,
it can
same.
be yeah. Um my perseverance,
Mm,
to like when you're dealing with healing healing from PTSD, like there's rough times. There's rough times before you realize you have to heal, that you need to do the healing work. And then there's rough times within it. Like it doesn't just go away because you start
mhm.
healing. And I think the perseverance to always push through and keep going and not let it take me down completely
Mm,
is something that
yeah,
I do admire in myself.
yeah.
Um but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. What's the next one?
What's a quality or strength that we admire in each other? Throw in a new one here.
Is that not in there?
No? I just threw it in there. Oh, well, the next one's compliment each other on
Compliment each
something
other
we
on
under
something meaningful,
okay.
whether it's
I was
recent
gonna agree.
success or quality you admire.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
I wasn't reading ahead.
Yeah, when you were like,
My
"Just
bad.
throw a new one in there," I'm
Yeah.
like, "Is that
This
one
one's
in
all in there. I don't read the notes, guys. I'm
there?"
kinda like the immature one in this situation. I don't prepare ahead. I don't do my homework.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Okay.
Do you wanna
Oh, we're
go or
complimenting each other?
yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Why would I? Quality you admire. I mean, if you have something, you go. Not that I don't have something. I'm just trying to like think and formulate thoughts here. Um,
Well, I do I admire your strength. I admire how you always you do bring joy to situations, like, you're with your humor. I very much admire your humor. Like, you're really funny.
I
Like,
know.
so fucking funny. Like, the conversations happen in my house when you're not there
Oh,
that
okay.
are like, "Jamie is so funny." Like, she's one of the funniest people I know, which is saying a
Oh,
lot because, I mean, my husband's really funny.
which is
I
also
have
funny because like I
kids that
feel
are
like I
funny.
don't talk as much around like when I'm around your
No,
whole family. Like
no.
I'm pretty quiet.
Well, but one of my kids who you
Oh
worked
yeah, yeah.
with is tuned into your humor
That's fair.
a bit
Yeah,
more,
I
but
let the
yeah,
cat out
but
of the
they're
bag.
they're picking up on
Yeah.
it. You've been around a long
Yes.
time
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You are
I think
more quiet when
I think
you're
I'm
around.
starting to loosen up a little there at times
I admire
around
how
him.
you always you're always observing and like taking things in and then you reflect on things. I think that that's really important. It's not like you just like are moving through the world um not thinking about what's going on around you. Like you
Mhm.
actually are always observing and taking it in and processing it and seeing if it applies to you or like it's just I think it's a really good quality that you're an observer.
Mm.
Um you're also super kind. You're so kind and loving and helpful. You're so helpful. Like it's yeah, we love having you here on our
Whew.
little farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see, was there more to it? Compliment each other on something meaningful and recent success. I'm really proud of you of how far you've come along with the business stuff
Hmm.
because even though
With
yesterday
with the
yesterday
what?
when both of us had the moments
With
where
the
we're looking at
comfort.
you like, "Huh? What are we
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Where are we what are
Yeah.
we doing? What is our business?"
And I had
But
that other moment where I was like, "No, you understand what I'm saying right now," when you were looking at me all
and I'm
confused, and I'm
like,
trying to
"No, I
convince
do."
you that you understand what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's
Yeah.
so out of
Yeah.
context for people listening that we had this moment
Yeah.
yesterday, but like you've come a long
Mhm.
way in
Yeah.
business because
I
like
feel that.
you weren't
Mhm.
around business.
Mhm.
Um, like I was around business growing up.
Mhm.
I my stepfather ran his own business and then my mother-in-law, like she's a businesswoman and then I owned businesses. Like so I've been around it more and then like you hadn't really had those
Mhm.
experiences. So you had a lot of like catching up to do and you're just growing in leaps and bounds. So
Thank
bravo.
you. Thank you. I feel like I wanna stand up and take a little bow here, but there's no room. I'm in a tiny house.
So yeah.
Um, cool. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Quality admire. This might sound like a cop out, but I think I just like I so admire who you are as a person in like your entirety. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I often reflect on our friendship and the many hats you've worn in our friendship.
Mm.
Like for me, you know, um, we met as like you were my healer,
Mhm.
me client, you know what I mean? And it's just
Mhm.
it's evolved into so many other things throughout our journey, like, and I think that's really something to admire. Like, I don't know, it's I guess it's hard for me to put into words because I just feel like you've given me so much and, like, helped me so much in my journey, and I'm like, nobody has to do that for someone, and so,
Mm,
like, I just really admire, I guess, your heart in that way, like, the way you care for people and will do that for other people and be that person and wear many different hats throughout,
mm,
um, throughout the relationship, and yeah, it's and I also admire, yeah, like, who you are as a mother and a wife, and just it's been really beautiful to, like, be here and to be a part of your guys' family and just, like, witness all of you
mm,
and together, and it's been very healing, um, to witness that and just beautiful to
mm.
see.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I do wear a lot of hats now. Like you made me kind of I do that for people.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that, but I kind of show up as who people need me to be
Mhm.
in the moment. Like even with my kids, it's kind of
Mhm.
a thing. Like sometimes I'm mom, sometimes I'm friend, sometimes I'm, strict mom,
Mhm.
sometimes I'm loving mom. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah. Yeah. It's what you it's I think how you have to show up in relationships. You have to wear a lot of hats if a relationship's going to be rich and
Mhm.
you're going to
I think it's,
nurture
yeah,
each
it's what you
other.
do for the people you love, I should say too. Like, I also admire, like, your bravery to have difficult conversations with people,
Mm. Yeah.
to be the one to start it oftentimes, like, you know?
Yeah. That bites me in
Yeah.
the ass
Yeah.
sometimes,
I
but
admire it and I
uh
dig it because
yeah, a lot of people don't.
yeah.
A lot of people don't, but I'm not afraid to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
I've been through so much that it's just like, well, whatever. Somebody has to
Yeah.
talk about it and nobody else seems to be stepping up. Um
Yeah.
so um we're going to discuss like did you feel awkward or unsure while answering?
I felt nervous a little, like, for a little twinge before we started,
Mm,
just 'cause I was like, "Oh gosh, I don't know."
yeah.
I don't maybe I won't think of any good answers. That's kind of where
Yeah, no, I think there's always a little bit of a like I think especially when like well what we just did complimenting each other, it's
Mhm.
like you might say something like what you said to me felt way more meaningful than what I said to
Oh,
you,
really? See,
right?
so
So
I
it's
felt the
like
opposite. I was like,
yeah,
"Oh gosh, I feel
so
like I said so much less."
so and yeah, so I
Now we're
think
not even complimenting our compliments.
right? Yeah. As far as when we first started, like no, I'm not hesitant to celebrate myself. Like
Mm.
I've come a long way to get here. I still have work to do with it,
Mhm.
but so I don't feel awkward about celebrating
Mhm.
myself. But like openly, letting someone into the like intimacy of our relationship
Mm.
and saying what I'm
Mhm.
proud of you and stuff like that, that does feel very personal to
Mhm.
be. I think it's just because we're doing the podcast right
Yeah.
now more so than anything. Otherwise, because you and I have had these
Mhm.
conversations before. Um, how does it feel to hear someone else celebrate you?
Good. No.
Yeah, of,
Good.
of course.
No.
Yeah,
No, it feels good. I think it's something that we all really need to do more
I do too.
for each
Yeah.
other because we don't hear it enough.
Mhm.
And it's like, while external validation isn't what one should be focused on, it's also just really nice to hear, to get
Yeah.
a gauge that, like, oh, good, the people in my life that I care about see me.
Yes.
Good.
Well, and
That's what they
that's
see because like, talking for my own self, it's like I
yeah.
question it even as because I care, right? I'm the kind of person that's like, God, I hope the people in my life that I care about, I hope they see me this way. I hope they know this. I hope they know this. And so to have that conversation and or to, like, even just, in your day to day, when you
Yeah.
think of something about someone, like, I think it would be great for it to become more of a normal habit. Even
Yeah.
in my life, like, it's something I would love to work on being better at, being more open to,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, well, it's honestly when you were giving me the compliment,
Mhm.
it that was legitimately the first thought that came to me as as we went through it. It was, she sees me.
Mm.
I feel seen and actually understood more than, and that's so, it's so important
Mhm.
to feel seen,
Oh, yeah.
by the people that are surrounding you
Yeah.
and that love you. It feels very lonely when you don't feel seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So,
agreed.
um, yeah, I strongly encourage anybody who's listening to this, go and talk to your friends and have these conversations. Maybe
I'll put those questions in the show
in the
notes
show
for
notes. That
people
would be
because
great.
then they could take them and do them with their
Yeah,
friends.
that would be really awesome, and, what a great exercise, and even discuss the experience in real time. How
Yeah.
did it fe did you feel awkward or unsure while answering? How does it feel to hear someone else celebrate you? Those are important, like, because it that asking those questions at the end could help
100%.
to further move into self-celebration and celebration of those that are within your immediate, surround, your people.
Well, it's
Like,
also it's good too because it's like you're trying a new practice.
yeah,
Maybe it's something you're not used to doing, and so it's also good to have that dialogue about like, "Oh, yeah, I felt nervous too," or "I felt," or
yeah,
like we just both did, where it's like, "I didn't feel like I felt like what I said was so much less than what you said," and
yeah,
it's like, "What? I
yeah.
felt that too.
Oh my
What?"
gosh, yeah, no,
You
I was
know?
really surprised when you said that. I was just like, "Oh, really? Okay." So
Yeah.
no, strongly, strongly encourage you guys to do this exercise with somebody that
Yeah.
you care about, that you love. A beautiful exercise to do with your partner, and obviously beautiful exercise to do with your friends.
Mhm.
And imagine doing it with your kids. Oh
Mm.
my
Yeah.
gosh, like that could be really wonderful. Um, yeah, takeaways today. Um, Here's just an idea. Keep a win journal to track your successes. That's a cool way, like something new to add to your journaling
Mhm.
practice
Mhm.
is each day, at the end of the day,
You write down your
write
wins,
down
like
your
do a little wins.
wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that would be fun. Um,
And they don't have to be huge. They can be
no,
anything.
literally today I got up and brushed my teeth.
I drank more
So
water
for some
today.
people that's where they're at,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
hydrated.
okay. Yeah,
I
drink
brushed
more
my hair.
water. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and and hopefully even bigger wins will
Yeah.
come after that. So, and then share a proud moment with someone you trust. So while it is challenging if you're not used to celebrating yourself, start out by doing it with someone that you trust. Maybe have a talk with a friend or with your
Mhm.
partner saying, "Hey, like let's try to take time each week to talk about what our proud moments are of the week,"
Mhm.
and have a mutual agreement, because having that mutual agreement can make it less awkward
Yeah, have a,
too.
like, celebrate your wins
Yeah,
time each week or something, and, like, that'd be
absolutely.
fun,
Yeah.
actually. Make your
Um
favorite meal, something fun.
yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And create a ritual to honor your achievements, like treating yourself or saying affirmations. So, yeah, I mean, creating rituals is so important in our, you know, personal growth, and having rituals that surround you celebrating yourself, pretty cool thing to do.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Um, so, in closing this topic for today, try to remember celebrating yourself. It's not just okay, it's necessary. It's a form of self love and an acknowledgement of your journey. So, this week, we challenge you to celebrate yourself in some way, share a win, write down something you're proud of, or just take a moment to say, "I'm fucking amazing," and own it, man. Just own it. Fucking amazing. And if you've enjoyed today's show, please go over and rate the episode. We would love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and experiences and your celebrations of self. Please, please, in the comments, share with us all of your awesomeness. We would love to get to know you on that level. And remember, sharing is caring. So please share this episode with a friend, loved one, or someone you think might enjoy or benefit from this topic. And don't forget to check us out on social media at Unraveling This Life. That's on Instagram, where you can sign up for our free newsletter, which is super cool, and stay up to date with our latest episodes and offerings. It's all there in the newsletter. You get it twice a month, and there's articles that connect you with like blogs that it's not too much. It's just enough. I promise you'll love it. So go on over there and check that out. And you'll find these links in the show notes. Um, until next time, you've been listening to Unraveling with July and Jamie. We love you. Be kind.